It started probably when he was about 8 years old. Unbeknownst to Cindy, I had taken him to a local airport about 10 minutes from the house, and we'd gone on a discovery flight in a little single-engine airplane, a little four-seater, and Tony got to sit up front. He was the co-pilot next to the pilot. And we got home, and of course he told her all about it, and she said, well, next time I'm going with you in case that plane goes down. We're all going to go together. But
yeah, it was started young, and he's never wavered from it.
Before he left, I remember him saying goodbye to me. And then he left, and everything seemed just fine.
It was a nice evening in the middle of April. Myself and one of my firefighters were standing on the front ramp just kind of talking, and saw an aircraft depart, and it didn't seem right when it took off and had a different noise, kind of fluttered a little bit, and as it started to fall, we came in and started running to the trucks.
And I was on my way home about 10:30 at night and received a phone call.
And about 42 seconds after he hit the ground, we were there.
And they said, are you where you can talk? And I knew then something was terribly wrong.
This is a Richmond tower. We require immediate assistance. We've had an aircraft depart and crash on the airport. There is a fire. There's a fire on the aircraft. There's a fire on the aircraft, on the taxiway. We need immediate assistance right now.
He just departed, so he was fully loaded with fuel and cargo.
They said, there's been an accident. His plane went down. There was a fire.
We have a fully involved aircraft at this time. Got to get here now. Rescue 4, help him out on the right side of the airplane.
The airplane stayed intact upon impact to the ground.
It appeared that the airport was going to request more resources, so everything out of this building headed towards the airport.
As the fireball erupted, it pushed the flames back along the fuselage, catching the interior of the airplane.
I asked her, I said, is he alive?
906, you're going to need more extrication equipment.
Removed him from the airplane. They used the jaws of life.
And I said, please tell me. And she said, yes, he's alive.
They kind of hinted that he was, in serious condition, but they couldn't give me a lot of detail.
Had a male patient, approximately mid-20s, third-degree burns to face and chest area.
He clearly had significant burn injuries. Airway was right away a concern.
Shallow respiration, full thickness burns to the face and leg.
We knew the airway was going to deteriorate rapidly.
A lot of risk associated with it, and you're making a pretty quick decision to do something that's very invasive. But I think the decision was correct.
You are taking their ability to maintain their own airway away, so you have to be extremely confident that you're going to be able to get it after you do that.
Fully immobilized. MCB notified.
We had the resources there where we were able to manage multiple things at the same time. 2 people just to be concentrating on the airway. Someone just managing IV/IO access, just managing the monitors, and just managing the drug therapy. And then 1 person sitting back overall management of the entire patient.
Paramedic 6 en route, VCU code 3.
Yeah, that was probably the longest night of our lives.
Paramedic 6 arrived, VCU. 22.
But when the light starts flashing, we know we have a trauma patient coming in. We start assembling our team of physicians and nurses. We knew, because it was a plane crash with a burn, it's going to be a very complex patient, because you're dealing with major thermal burns and major blunt force trauma.
We really needed to secure that airway, so that was our first concern, because if we lost that airway in a burn victim, that we risked not being able to get it back due to the swelling. So it was definitely the airway was our first major concern.
We made sure all the other breathing circulations were intact. We identified all the injuries, got our IV secured, started warming him up, started giving him the fluids that he needed, and got him to the CAT scanner and all the x-rays that he needed.
From the emergency department, he was taken to the angio suite where the whole team went with him. The resuscitation continued as the radiologist worked on pinpointing where the bleeding was and making sure that they can stop the bleeding.
In the setting of a trauma whereby someone has significant pelvic bleeding like this, that's a risk to their life. And as you can see here, these traumatized arteries are actually bleeding. We don't need to make any incisions. We just go in through a small hole at the top of the leg, perform that angiogram in a minimally invasive way, and are able to very rapidly treat the problem. But this certainly was a threat to his life.